What was the motivation behind getting into a flip and not just a traditional purchase of a condo or a house?
Yeah, so initially we really didn't think we were going to flip the place. We really thought we were going to take it long term, but after putting in the work and really, we invested a lot of money into redoing the bathrooms, the kitchens, we redid the whole backyard. So that's what prompted us to really go and sell the property. And it was just good timing too. We got in when there was high interest rates, and we got the property for a good value.
What are those fears, because we're far away in age, what are those fears that young guys like you, like your brother, encounter when it's the time to start purchasing real estate? What are those fears that maybe other young investors are like hesitating?
Yeah, so I feel like real estate, you need a lot of capital to invest in a project or to invest in a condo. But I would just suggest to people to make it a goal to save a certain amount of money, and then continue working at your job, continue getting a bigger and bigger paycheck as the years go by. And this way the bank will give you a little bit more money every time. And then you can go get yourself a little bit of a bigger mortgage if you don't have that strong down payment. But I think the most important thing is to start. And if you can't do it by yourself, you can always team up with a family member. I really encourage that, either a family member of a friend that's trusted.
Who did you partner up with?
So I ended up going with my brother. pretty reliable bet. Mm-hmm. But I do suggest taking the chance and putting your best foot forward, especially when it comes to real estate, because it'll pay off later down the road.
And also when we're gonna talk about the flipping, it's not really that you bought a property in shambles, you just fixed it and resold it. Because I know all his trajectory during the project, and is also the fact that you have created value on that property. And I want you to tell me a little bit of how was it dealing with tenants and increasing those rents, creating that value. How was the experience?
So initially, when we usually look for a property, we look for a vacancy. So we look for if the property is not lived in. So you don't have a low rent. That's like a tenant's been there for a long time, and you don't have a low rent. So we could pretty much optimize the whole property. We can fully renovate the units. We can redo the bathrooms. We can redo the kitchen. So those are the main things we usually do. And then we can optimize the rents, if the floors need to redone and so forth like that. So that's what we look for in terms of value. So if you are going to attempt to flip something, really invest thoroughly in redoing the bathroom and also redoing the kitchen. That's what I would suggest as my number one priority.
Yeah. Okay. So when you started looking for a property, what was the main criteria? Was it... I know what his criteria was, but I want you to talk to people about what was the main criteria and why was that your criteria? Yeah,
it's also finding a good deal is difficult, especially in real estate. Everyone's on the same properties. Everyone wants to go. So you really want to, when you're looking at a property too, you want to see what potential revenue it can bring. So maybe you could create another unit, or maybe that'll really increase the value of the property. So that's what we did in our case. We went for a unit a basement that we converted into another unit. We have official permits from the city and so forth like that. So that really increased the revenues, and also if the revenues increase, then the property value increases.
That's just for everyone. When you listen to this podcast, David bought a vacant duplex, but there was a bachelor downstairs, and they converted it into a triplex with all the procedures that you have to go through the city and everything.
And it's quite complicated sometimes, so it takes a learning curve for sure, and it's trial and error. You're like, okay, the city says no to this, or you have to change this. So it's really it's a learning process, but once you know the procedure, it's much easier.
Actually, the seller of that property told you that he had been denied the permit for a triplex, right?
He had been denied.
Exactly.
He had started a process and it had been denied. So there's always ways around it, and you just got to get creative.
Yeah. Well, yes, exactly. Now, what was the initial project, and what was the initial budget? Did you manage to stay? Because that's another thing. It's managing the budget. People, did you know what you were getting into?
From the very beginning, we knew we had to put in at least we knew the amount we needed to put in. We needed to put in a few $100,000 just to get everything going. So getting going right into it, we didn't exactly know the exact amount we would be deploying, but we had like a range. I would say we had a little plan beforehand, so it wasn't done on the fly. We had some numbers that we were like, okay, it'll take us this amount of capital to really see our money work.
That proves my point about people saying, I want to flip a property, I want to optimize a property, but you do need to make those numbers. You do need to run those numbers before, during, after.
Yeah, you have to have an initial plan, right? So you have to have an initial amount of numbers that you're going to look at, and then based off that, you can make better projections.
Did you manage to stay within the budget?
Yeah, if anything, we were under budget. So we
were under budget?
We did it quite well.
Okay. But, okay, please, explain everything that was done to that property, like what was changed. And please also explain to people, because I encounter a lot of clients thinking that a flip is an easy way to make money. Please explain to people how many hours and days you've spent in the property.
Yeah, so... The labor is the thing that's going to cost you the most. So getting someone to come in there to do it for you. So a lot of the smaller jobs that we could do, we did by ourselves. So we put down tiles. We did some renovations. We did the whole bathroom renovation. So we put in a toilet. We put in a shower. We put in a full kitchen. We ran a little bit of plumbing. The big things that we usually spend on our electrician, because that has to be done by a chartered electrician. And the plumbing job. So those are the two bigger costs, but everything else in terms of the flooring and how the bathroom looks and so forth like that, we did most of it ourselves. So it is advantageous to be handy. So it is very advantageous. So I would suggest to people to get into have contacts in the space that will open up a little bit more your connections, and you can get people in there that'll maybe charge you a little less, or you can build trust with somebody. And that's how real estate works.
How long has this process taken? Because you've just finished doing pretty much what you wanted to do, right? How long has the process taken? And in terms of hours, how many hours have you invested with your brother and your father in those renovations? So people get a clear idea of what is the compromise here.
It's definitely like some sacrifice on weekends and so forth like that to get out there and do the work. Like if you're having a full-time job, you do your 9 to 5 every day for 5 days, and then you spend the rest of your weekends pretty much working. You do small bit by bit, but I can't tell you the exact amount of hours, but it had to be at least like 8 hours a week for like a good year and a half there. So there's still work to be done.
8 hours a week for 18 months. So for those out there thinking that flipping a property is a hobby, well, you're not going to make your money because of also the fact that it takes you more time to flip it. Well, there's a cost involved with the mortgage, the taxes, and everything. You guys, how long was the property under renovations where there was no income coming in? So tenants. Was it a long time? I don't recall that part.
The main unit we had rented pretty quickly. That one was the one that we didn't have to do any renovations. But the upstairs and downstairs stayed vacant for at least a few months, like maybe 5 months, 6 months. So you have to weigh that as well. You're not going to get income to maybe back up your mortgage on the property. So you have to weigh that as well.
Yeah,
and the interest you're going to pay per month, and if you can afford it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Now, talk to us about the experience of having tenants. I know you've had tenants in the past, one tenant.
Yeah.
How has it been? Is that something young investors that are getting into the plexes, is that something they should be afraid of?
You mean tenants in general?
Yeah, managing the tenants.
Managing the tenants, yeah. I think it really depends on the tenant. You can be a great landlord and you really have one tenant that just really is causing problems for you. You can get super, super unlucky. But for me, I haven't had terrible experiences with tenants up to now. I've been pretty lucky. As I show respect to everybody, and at the end of the day, they're going to want different things, and I'm going to do my best as a landlord. It's my responsibility to fix things and so forth. But we can't do everything, right? But I would say in general, my relationship with my tenants has been very, very good.
So that's something people shouldn't be afraid of. I mean, yes, we can end up with a really bad tenant, but in general, what was the screening process you did when you chose the tenant?
So we had everyone fill out a form that, got their previous landlord's number, their income, different types of information, their full name, a piece of ID. I think that's the best thing. You can also run a credit check if you go through. We didn't go through a realtor to rent the apartments, but I would highly encourage to go through a realtor for because it'll just protect you, and it'll save you a lot of money and time if something does go wrong. So that would be my number one suggestion for everybody.
Were there any surprises you encountered during all this process, the renovation, the tenants, all this process? Did you encounter any surprises, good or bad?
Yeah, well, we had two tenants that didn't really like each other, and they kept fighting for many months, and they kept calling the cops on each other and so forth. That I'm not going to get into the details, but there's sometimes people just get upset and they need to lash out, and sometimes the person upstairs is the person to lash out to. So that's what, unfortunately what happens. So it's your responsibility to also manage that, right? It's your responsibility to manage and come up with solutions. That's one of our responsibilities.
If somebody comes to you, somebody young, your age, and says, I'm afraid to start in real estate. I have a couple of dollars. I'm going to invest in stocks. I'm going to invest in structure notes. I'm going to invest in real estate. What's the advice?
Yeah, so I think it depends on your goal. It depends what your end goal is. If you're looking at the S&P 500, if you're looking more into stocks that are pretty stable too, like over the last year or so, or even 2 years, the returns of the stock market have been very good. Even better than maybe holding on to some equity in some real estate. But for a flip per se, like you can have 20% back, 15 to 20% back in the markets, let's say over the last year or two. If you're in real estate, you can even go up to like 40%. So 35-40% in 1 year. So that's like the advantage of real estate. And also I find you have a little bit more control. You have a little bit more control in your assets as something physical. Not to say that stocks and so forth are bad, but if you're looking on a return basis, the potential of you to bring back a lot more return on your capital is higher in real estate, I find. And it could be moved quicker sometimes.
So that would be your argument for somebody that's telling you to invest in other type of
like for example structured notes and so forth like that. That would be my argument.
Okay. Now let's go back to the renovation part. Which part do you think, or which type of renovations do you think are contributing more to the increase of the revenues, which is which of those renovations that are making it more desirable for the tenants, so they're willing to pay more, which at the end is going to increase the net revenue and the chances of selling it at a higher price?
Yeah, so like I said before, the bathrooms, like fully redoing a bathroom is very key. People like a clean bathroom. Also a kitchen that's nice and neat. Everything's painted white. The cabinets are clean and so forth like that. Parking is another component that a lot of people ask for, especially in the area that we invested in. With all the bike paths that they're building in Montreal, they're promoting more bikes, but there's a big need for parking, and it's the one thing on everybody's mind. So if you can provide someone, a tenant, with parking, it's almost like a no-brainer, and they're also willing to pay a little bit of a premium for something that's in demand, right? So it comes back to stocks as well, like supply and demand. If there's too much demand or too much, if there's too much selling versus it'll saturate a market, and that's what will make the prices go down. But like I said, for the parking, people really, it was desired, so people are willing to pay a premium for it.
Let's talk about something that, of course, this is a real estate show, so and I have to you can say whatever you want, good or bad. Did the help of a realtor play any good, bad, medium role in acquiring and the whole process of, let's say, it's not, again, like I said, it's not a flipping a property. It's creating value with this property. Did an agent help you? If they did help you, did you see any value on that help?
Yeah, so there's always, I find a realtor is crucial. I find it becomes your voice in the negotiation process. So not only can a realtor give you advice on what to bid on or what price to go at, depending on the comparables in the area, but they can also streamline. They can also push you into their direction when you do get the accepted offer. Okay, I need contacts with a mortgage broker. I need other financing or so forth like that. Or if let's say you're looking for another bank, they have other contacts in the space that'll make it a lot easier for you. So you're not kind of left out in the middle of the lake without any help. So I find a realtor is like they'll give you a Bowie and will bring you in and really save you in terms of the property in and of itself. I find. If that metaphor makes sense.
And now, because you're going to sell soon your property, why would you use a realtor? And if yes, why would you use the realtor? What is your argument to people that say, you're going to save on commission if you sell it on your own?
If you're going to sell it on your own too, you're probably going to be dealing with another buyer directly too, or another realtor. So you don't have this middle person to kind of negotiate for you. And I find a lot of the time too, you'll probably sell it at a lower price compared if you had someone representing you. And you can also you can talk through them a lot more, and it makes it easier for the negotiation process. So whether the property sells for $1 million or like a million, if the $15,000 of commission gets taken off the top line, and you end up selling it for the same amount, I find it's very, very beneficial.
Are you planning on getting into another of these projects?
I think so. I think now that we did a really good job with our first project, we're thinking of for sure branching out and also collaborating with people too, making sure that other people in the space know it's possible. Even if you're like young, you can do it if you team up with people, if you have the right team behind you, I find.
When you say that, it's more about inspectors, contractors, or family or friends, or
having a good network. Like if you build a good base of people, or it's like one or two people that you trust close to you, you take a chance with them, take the step forward, and I assure you won't regret it.
So you are looking into getting into a new project.
Yes.
What are you waiting for?
You were waiting for that.
Oh my God. Okay. So before we finish, I just wanted you to talk a little bit to the young people again. Yeah. The advice. Tell them, because there's a lot of course, when it comes from a real estate broker, people think, oh, she's a real estate broker. Oh, she's trying to sell me into real estate. Tell the young investors what would you advise them to do? When would you advise them to start? How? Where to go? What would be like 3 key things you would tell them?
Yeah, my first thing would be pick your realtor.
Wisely.
Pick your realtor wisely.
How do you pick a realtor wisely?
I would say through experience and what the person has done in the past. Build a good relationship with the realtor, and it's not just about commission at the end of the day for them. It's like they really want to see you, move into something you love, or like invest into a project that will yield you returns. So I would get away from like the commission conversation about it and more about like your goals and where you want your money to work. My second thing would be, just take the step forward. Talk to your bank. Get informed at your bank. Initially, see how much money you can go borrow. And then my third one would be coming back to like the connections piece. Getting a good team, getting like a mortgage broker that'll really negotiate your interest rate down, because it makes a huge difference. Even if it's like, half a percentage point or like a 0.02%, like it really makes a difference in terms of the capital you'll get, or the money that'll work for you in the future. So those would be my three big goal suggestions, I would say.
Do you want to start giving real estate advice so they can contact you, so you can partner up with people, or maybe
if anyone wants to partner up, for sure. I always love having conversations.
you just need to send me a direct message, and I'll put you in contact with. And actually, I have to say, because like now we're talking about a flip, but David is not only into real estate with that flip. He owns another property. He has now a space, a commercial space for his business, which, by the way, if anyone is looking for a great osteopath or physical trainer close to the area of Royalmount, he has a beautiful space there.
Yeah, we'd be happy to help.
Yeah, happy to help, right? So he's not only talking about this particular, he's been how long has it been since you first starting your first purchase? It's been like 5 years almost, right?
Yeah, it's going to be 5 years. It's coming up in December.
And you've done already 3 transactions, because the rental of your commercial space was also a transaction.
It was also, yeah.
Which is almost like a sale or like a purchase, right?
A very expensive purchase. That doesn't yield me as much, but not for now.
Yes, for now. So that's why I wanted to invite David today to share the experience about flipping. And again, like I said, here the key component of what he did was not only the aesthetic part, but it's mainly, and the success of his project when he's going to sell is the fact that he was able to create value. He bought a building that was empty. He renovated it to rent it at top dollars, and that is generating a net income that is going to increase the price significantly. So I want to go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to come back to it. It's not an easy thing to do. Like, flipping a property is not an easy task. It requires a lot of planning and also a lot of manpower too. I was lucky I had my brother and my dad help me out for sure. If not, I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. But yeah, like, I would suggest that people get into contact with people in your network, even if it's a close friend. You guys can team up. It's always better to work as a team as opposed to working by yourself. Right?
But it was worth it, right?
It was very much worth it. Very much worth it.
Thank you so much for coming tonight, because it's 8 p.m. Thank you, everyone that had that took the time to listen, to connect. For all of those people that are on Instagram, next Thursday we're gonna be back in Spanish at 7 p.m. and in English at 7:30 p.m. Thank you once again, David. Anything else you want to say before we finish?
My pleasure. It was. Thanks for having me. When can I come again?
When do you want to come again?
Next week.
Okay, we're gonna have David again next week. Thank you, everyone.